Namaste, Namaste everyone. Welcome to second PUC physics class. In the previous class we were discussing about different types of diodes. Ordinary PN junction diode we have finished, right? Namaste, Namaste everyone. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to the class. In the last few classes we have studied about diodes, their applications, rectifiers, half-wave, full-wave rectifier, and then we went for another special purpose diode which is especially constructed to work under reverse bias, and it is used as a voltage regulator, that is Zener diode. So Zener diode is a special type of diode, heavily doped, and its doping concentration is more. We use more number of these doped atoms per cm cube. So usually the doping concentration is 10 to the power 14 atoms per cm cube, and here it will be some about 10 to the power 17 to 10 to the power 16, 17, 18 atoms per cm cube, right? So per cm cube. In 1 centimeter cube of the material you will have 10 to the power 18 atoms, dopant atoms, maybe trivalent or pentavalent atoms. So when the doping concentration is very high, you have heavily doped PN junction, and the width of the depletion region is small, and that develops a very strong electric field, and when it is reverse biased, that electric field can knock out electrons from the silicon atoms. So they create more current in the reverse bias, that is Zener breakdown, and that current increases but voltage remains the same, that is breakdown voltage, Zener breakdown voltage. Now we will go for some optoelectronic devices, again diodes, optoelectronic devices which operate under light. Optoelectronic devices. One is photodiode. We will see two diodes and a photocell. What is a photodiode? Photodiode is a PN junction diode once again. It works and it gives a reverse bias current depending on the light falling on it. And you know that Zener diode works according to the electric field developed in the reverse bias. That electric field can knock out electrons from the atoms, and that creates, along with the minority carriers, these knocked out electrons from the using the electric field, they create more current in the reverse bias. So you can vary, the current changes in the reverse bias but voltage remains the constant. That is the principle of Zener diode. That's why it is used as a voltage regulator. Now here comes one more diode called photodiode, which is also used in reverse bias, and it is a special diode where light is made to fall on the junction. So if you have the PN junction structure like this, so this is the junction and here are the ions, and if this is P side and this is N side, so here you have holes and very minority carrier electrons, and here you have many electrons, minority carriers, holes, and these electrons migrated here will make the trivalent atom negatively charged, and since they have left the junction here, this becomes positively charged, and these electrons which have left from here make this pentavalent atom positively charged. So this is the PN junction, and if you reverse bias this by connecting P side to the negative of the battery and N side to the positive of the battery and a resistor, say like this, and if you connect a microammeter, say we will connect a microammeter. Of course, reverse current is in the order of microamperes. Forward current will be some 10,000 times more milliamperes. Now this is reverse biased, so photodiode is always reverse biased. Now light of suitable frequency is made to fall on the junction like this, h nu, we know energy, and if that energy is suitable enough, then what happens is electrons will be lifted from the valence band to the conduction band. And when the electrons get lifted to the conduction band, you know that energy gap in a semiconductor is less. So certain radiations can give enough amount of energy to the electrons. When they come to the conduction band, they become free. Now they are the charge carriers. At the same time, they create some holes in the valence band, you know it. So electron hole pairs are created. These electron hole pairs will move across the junction, and that creates more current in the reverse bias. And that extra current, that means the reverse biased total current produced, of course you know that reverse biased current is because of minority carriers, it is not larger in number, but when we put light into this, when the junction is irradiated with light, more electron hole pairs are created because of the by absorbing the photo energy, that is energy from the light. More electron hole pairs are created, so the current increases. And if you put more amount of light, more and more intensity of light, you know the photoelectric effect principle, same way. When the intensity of light is more and more photons will fall on this, and more electrons will become free, more and more holes will be created. So electron hole pair will be more and more as the light falling on the junction will be more, and so the reverse bias current, its value, the value of the reverse bias current is directly proportional to the intensity of light falling on the diode. That is why this diode is a diode which converts the intensity of light into electrical signal, because reverse bias current depends on the intensity of light. So photodiode is a reversed biased p-n junction diode which converts light energy into electrical energy, and it is used to measure the strength of the electric intensity of light, brightness of the light. Intensity of light can be measured using this, and of course if you draw the graph for this one, reverse bias, current is reverse, voltage is reverse, sorry, voltage here, current here, then you will find that when there is no light falling on the junction, we have the reverse bias similar to ordinary diode, but we don't go to breakdown. You keep the diode in the sufficiently reverse biased condition with suitable voltage here. Now when you make the light to fall on the junction, the reverse current in the y-axis increases, right? This is for intensity 1, brightness 1. This is for intensity 2. When the intensity of light is more and more, what happens? So intensity 1 is less than intensity 2, less than intensity 3. So when the intensity of light is more and more, brightness intensity 3 is very high, the photoelectric current goes on increasing. So it increases, saying that more light is falling on the junction. So this is a special purpose diode which converts the intensity into electrical signal, and it is used in photometers to measure the intensity of light. And we have nowadays we have in a camera, we have automatic switching on and off of that flashlight. When the light from the object comes into the camera gets the signal, this much of light, whether it is enough to get the better photograph or not. If it is not enough, what happens is some signals will be sent to this photodiode. Photodiode will, the light will be falling on the photodiode. Photodiode will convert that light energy into electrical energy. If that electrical energy is very weak, the meaning is intensity of light is very weak, it converts, it gives the signal to the flash switches on. So we have automatic switching on and off of flash. Nowadays you need not to switch on the flash, you need not to check whether the light is enough or not. Automatically the camera switches on with the flash. Now, so that is the working of photodiodes. Photodiodes convert that light energy coming from the object into electrical energy and test whether it is enough or not. So that is one of the applications. You have plenty of applications. Once the light energy is converted into electrical energy, you can have plenty of operations, like when you go to a mall, when you enter there, see the door opens, and all those doing things may be worked, may be constructed using photodiodes. And so very simple explanation, right? A p-n junction is reverse biased, light is made to fall on the junction, and if no light is falling on the junction, still we have a very small current that is called a drift current, that is due to minority carriers, and that current may be this one when there is no light intensity. Say when the light intensity falls on the sufficient energy falls on the junction, electron hole pairs are created, because electrons can move to the conduction band by absorbing that energy. These electron hole pairs, they start moving across the junction along with the minority carriers, they increase the current. So like this, and the amount of light current depends on the intensity of light falling. More the intensity, more will be the this reverse bias current. So you can directly convert intensity into electrical signal, that is current. Okay, so and the symbol of this, if you want to have a symbol for the photodiode, it will be like this. a diode symbol with the light falling on it like this. Right, that is a photodiode. Now the other one, another diode. So I'll rub this. So only the thing here will be asked for the exam is what is photodiode and how it is used, whether it is in forward bias or reverse bias. It is reverse bias, and write the symbol or write application of photodiode. Okay. Photodiode converts light energy into electrical energy. That is the main purpose. Okay. Now we have another called LED, light emitting diode. Light emitting diode. You know that you have seen some small bulb-like arrangements, running bulbs like this in decorating the photos, right? Around the photos of a god or anything, you will have some running lights. That is, they are LEDs. Even in your calculator, it is LED. When you switch on a power supply or when you switch on a mobile charger, you get a small light, red light in that. That is LED, light emitting diode. It is not a bulb. It doesn't contain a filament. It has no filament at all. It has a PN junction inside it, but it is forward biased. We have seen Zener diode reverse biased, photodiode reverse biased, but LED forward biased. LED is used in forward biased condition, always forward biased. Now, how is LED constructed? Again, very heavily doped. Heavily doped PN junction, but forward biased. It contains a heavily doped PN junction, and of course here we have a depletion layer, P layer, N layer, and here we have plenty of holes, and here we have plenty of electrons, and here there may be few minority carriers, here there may be few minority carriers. Now this is the junction where immobile ions are present, because these electrons have combined with the trivalent atom here. This is the junction, and since these electrons have come from some pentavalent impurity here, this pentavalent impurity becomes positively charged, and this happens very near the junction first. The migration starts near the junction first. So that's why depletion layer is formed near the junction, not somewhere away, because crossing takes place first at the junction. Okay, now this is LED is a forward biased PN junction. When you forward bias, say I will give you a resistor load, say, just to control the current. Yeah. When a LED is forward biased, what happens? If you go beyond the cut-in voltage, as in the ordinary diode, electrons and holes cross the junction. Now, this crossing of electrons and holes using the external bias takes place near the junction first. Say these electrons cross the junction and come here, and holes cross the junction and move here. Now, the thing is, when they cross the junction, electron which has crossed the junction from N to P, electrons will move from N to P. When that electron comes here, in the P region, it is a minority carrier, isn't it? It may be a majority carrier in the N region, but when that electron comes to the P region, it is a minority carrier. And similarly, holes, when they move to the N region, in the P region, holes are majority carriers, but by the time they move to the N region, they are minority carriers. So electrons and holes, when they cross from N and P region, when they cross and go to the other region, the either side of the depletion region is filled with the minority carriers. How? When the electrons come over here, here we have electrons, and of course this is because of biasing, not because of initial diffusion, because initial diffusion has caused depletion layer. Because of biasing, these electrons have come here. They are the minority carriers for this region. So similarly, holes will go and accumulate here near the junction, and holes are the minority carriers. Near the depletion layer region or near the junction, there is a crowding of these minority carriers, and these minority carriers, they can combine with the majority carriers, because you know what are these? Boron atoms, trivalent atoms. They have a scarcity of 1 electron for filling the bond, right? When these majority carriers in electrons in this N region move to the P region, they become the minority carriers. Here holes are the majority carriers. They are waiting for the electrons. These electrons can combine with the holes. What do you mean by that? That hole may be filled with this electron which has come over here. Electron fills the hole. And what do you mean by electron filling the hole? Electron, when it is supplied with energy, electrons are found in the valence band. When the electrons are supplied with energy, they go to the conduction band. A hole is created in the valence band and electron is in the conduction band. What do you mean by electron going to the p region? It is coming back to the it is combining with the hole, means it is coming back to the valence band. When the electron from the n region move to the p region, it becomes the minority carrier and it combines with the majority carrier hole. It's combining with the majority carrier hole means it is losing its energy, extra energy, because it was free. Now it loses energy and becomes bound. Bound means more negative, right? So you were free, you had 10,000 rupees in your hands. Now you have 20,000 loan. What do you mean by that? You have lost 30,000 rupees. 10,000, 0, minus 10, minus 20. It's totally 30,000 you have lost. These electrons will become bound electrons because they have combined with the holes. That means they have filled the, that bond which is vacant, and now they are not free. They have lost some electrons. That energy, lost energy, will appear in the form of light. Sir, won't it happen in the ordinary diode? When the ordinary diode is forward biased, won't we get energy in the form of light? No, because that depends on what type of material we have chosen. In that material, what is the type of energy gap? This is valence band, and this is conduction band. Valence band and conduction band. This is energy gap. Correct? Now, in an ordinary diode, what happens is, when it is forward biased, when these electrons come to the p region, when they are minority carriers, they combine with the majority carriers and they lose energy. That energy is in the form of that energy gap. If you take that energy gap and convert it into h nu, that radiation, nu frequency, will be in the form of infrared radiation. What do you mean by infrared? Not visible. It is in the form of heat energy. That's why a diode gets heated during the forward bias also. That is because of the release of energy in the form of heat. So they emit that energy in the form of heat. So it is in the IR form, whereas here you choose a certain material whose energy gap lies in the range. So this is energy gap, because when the electron comes here, it loses that energy. That energy gap is in the range 1.8 electron volt to 3 electron volt. And the best suitable material is gallium arsenide phosphide. Right? And some different materials are chosen so that this energy gap is equal to h nu, and that nu suits for different colors. You get the different colored LEDs. You might have seen in the decorating that photos, right? Around the photos of the god, you have different decorating lights. They may be in red color, yellow, white, so many colors. So those light emitting diodes, they are not the bulbs. They don't contain any filament inside. They have only some p-n junction inside. So forward biased. When the electrons combine with the holes, energy is released in the form of light, and this is in the visible region. If you convert this energy into h nu, you know h, but convert this into that joules by multiplying this by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joules. What the frequency you get, what the wavelength you get, that is in the visible form. You can see that. In an ordinary diode, when it is forward biased, you can't see because it is infrared. Infrared can be felt but cannot be seen through our eyes. So this is the material chosen. By selecting a certain material, we can have different energy gaps and we can have different colored light. So LED is forward bias. What is the symbol of LED? Not this one. Symbol of LED is like this. This is the symbol of, and last time I had written, because it emits light. The photodiode receives light and produces electron hole pairs, and they are used as charge carriers in the reverse bias. You can control the current by controlling the light. But whereas this one, this produces light by recombining with the holes, electrons recombining with the holes, and that emits light in the visible range. So you have to select the material which has got an energy in this range, 1.8 electron volt to 3 electron volt, which is best suitable for producing visible radiation. So applications part. So symbol is like this, light going out because emitted. Light going in means it is a photodiode. Okay. Application of LEDs, plenty of application. They are used in calculators, traffic signals, LED TV screen. Nowadays you might have seen the LED screens, big screens. If you go very close to it, you can see many small LEDs emitting light. And if you go very close to the LED screen, you can't identify the picture because all the dots are well apart and you can't produce an effective combination. But as you go move away, you can't identify the LEDs separately. You get a continuous picture, so you can identify the picture. So they are actually individual LEDs emitting different colors of light. So in LED TV screen, in calculators, traffic signal, and indicator in switching on and off of a power supply or anything. So in every application we have now, when you switch on, you will get a red light there. When you switch off, red light goes off. So when something is charging, some red light, after charging, green light. So they are all LEDs. So switching as an indicator for switching on and switching off of a light. So like this way, you have plenty of applications. They are LEDs. So you can write anything, right? Even in the calculator, what you get, that is LED display. Okay. Right. So LED is forward biased, and you have to suitably select some materials. Gallium arsenide phosphide is one of the materials chosen for constructing LED, where energy gap is suitable to see the radiation you can have. And the light, another advantage of LED, right? Of course, you can construct an LED. What is the advantage of LED over other bulbs? That is filament bulb. Edison bulb we have, right? Thomas Alva Edison gave us a filament bulb. What are the advantages of LEDs over these filament bulbs? Filament bulbs require certain switching on time. They can't switch on immediately. They need some switching on time to get heated and warm up and all. No warm up time is required for LEDs. LEDs can switch on instantaneously because it is not the filament, it is just forward biasing and PN junction. Electrons and holes can recombine immediately and give the energy in the form of light, visible light. So no warm up time is required, and they are very cheap and they are having long life. Long life durability, and they use very less amount of power. Power consumption is very less compared to the filament bulb, because in the filament bulb a lot amount of power is wasted in the form of heat. Heating energy is more there. Actually bulb is used to get light energy, but heating is a part of the bulb, but that light loss of energy in the form of heat is more in bulb, whereas in LEDs loss of energy in the form of heat is less, so consumption of energy is very less, right? And you will get more efficient light, and light is monochromatic, sometimes it is highly monochromatic, and durability is more, and all these things, and switching action is very quick, doesn't require warm up time like a bulb. So everything is, you can write advantages of LED over other incandescent bulbs. Symbol is this one. So optoelectronic devices, second one. First one is Zener diode. It is not optoelectronic device because it doesn't use light. It is used as a voltage regulator, reverse biased. Then photodiode, optoelectronic device. It needs light to be fallen on its junction. Converts light energy into electrical energy. And symbol with the light falling on like this. LEDs, okay, light emitting diode, they are not the bulbs, they are forward biased PN junctions, electrons and holes are made to recombine, and the light energy is emitted. And energy gap for that material chosen should be in this range, otherwise it will not be in the visible form, and you can produce light of different colors. Now we will go to one more, that is photocell. What is a photocell? Photocell. Photocell is actually not a diode, it is a device constructed using semiconductors. That itself is a cell. That device itself acts like a battery. You see, in LED and in photodiode, in Zener diode, in order to bias its junction, you need an external battery, isn't it? You had an external battery, biased. We say Zener diode is reverse biased. That means P side is connected to the negative and N side is connected to the positive of the battery. So we had a battery. And what about in next one, optoelectronic device, that is photodiode. In photodiode we had a battery, reverse biased once again. LED we had a battery, forward biased. Photocell itself is a battery. There is nothing to show another battery to bias it. So what is a photocell? It's a device which converts light energy into electrical energy and into a cell, right? So an EMF is developed in the PN junction itself, and that itself acts like a cell. So don't show another cell in the photocell. Because once it can act like a cell, a source of energy, once it receives the light and acts like a source of energy, it has plenty of applications. You see how once we launch a satellite and once we leave it move around the Earth or Moon or any planet, who will supply energy for its working? Because it has to receive signals, it has to send signals to us, it has to take the photograph. For everything we need energy. It will have a long life for years and years. How does it work? Solar panel, solar cell, the same photocell. Photocells will act like solar cells. They are silicon wafers actually, silicon layers. So how does it act? A photocell consists of a PN junction, like this, a silicon PN junction. Say, I will show it like this now. So this is N side and this is the P side, and the depletion layer may be somewhere here, very thin depletion layer, like this, say. Okay, I'll complete this, like this. Okay. So solar cell consists of a PN junction. Now, in order to have contact for outside connection, if you want to have connection outside, and if you whatever the EMF is generated by the cell, if it has to be used, even we have solar cells in our house, right? Because in order to reduce the power consumption from electricity supply, we have solar cells also. Even when there is no power from KPTCL, you can use solar batteries. So they are the array of solar cells. It is not a single solar cell. We have a series of solar cells connected one after the other. Okay, so in order to have external contact, because you can connect that energy generated, battery, that EMF generated to different loads, bulb, fan, fridge, TV, anything. So you should have a contact. So the lower end of that solar cell, that is the P side, is connected to a metal sheet. So there will be a metal sheet beneath this, and that is called back contact. I'll call this as back contact. So there is a metal contact on the base, so that you can have a connection over it. And what about the upper end? Upper end will be having a transparent sheet. Below that there is a metal rods kept like this, and they will be connected like this. So metal rods, and they are called contact rods. So they are contact rods or grids. You can call it as a grid also. So it is connected outside. Contact rods. Front contact I can call. Front contact and back contact. Okay. So these two ends can be connected to a resistor. And do you need any biasing voltage? No. No biasing voltage, no battery, extra battery, because this itself is a battery. It itself drives the load. You can drive the load here itself, right? So the front end contains some transparent sheet with some contact given here. Okay, contact rods. You can name them as contact metal rods. And this is back contact, a sheet of metal. They are connected to the external load. Load may be anything, maybe fan, fridge or anything, wherever you want to use the power. Now light falls on this. Light of suitable energy, when it falls on this, H nu, say. Light falls on the junction now. As the light falls on the junction, of course it falls on the junction here. As soon as the light falls on the junction, electron hole pairs will be created, as if we have in a photodiode. Same principle. Because silicon semiconductors have a small energy gap. Electrons can be lifted from the conduction band to the valence band even using light energy. That is possible. Of course, we are not making them free. We are producing some electron hole pairs. And in a PN junction, you know, once the PN junction is formed, suppose this is P side with large number of holes, P, and this is N side with large number of electrons, you know that these electrons and holes will cross the junction. In the beginning there is a diffusion. Electrons will move here, become immobile ion by joining with the trivalent impurity. There is a trivalent impurity here which has got 3 valence electrons. It cannot satisfy the bond with all the neighboring silicon atoms, so it needs one electron. So this electron comes and joins. So there is an depletion layer. These atoms have lost one electron. So like this, p-n junction is formed. Now you see, if you compare this one, originally p region and n region were neutral because they were having ions, they were having doped atoms which are also neutral. But once the electron from here reaches here, this gets negatively charged and this gets positively charged because it has lost one electron. Again, totally it is neutral, but region by region if you compare, this region is negatively charged and this region is positively charged. Now, when light falls on the junction, it is a similar junction here also. When light falls on the junction, electron hole pairs are created. Can you guess where electrons and holes move when the light is falling on the junction? Electrons will move to the n region because it is positively charged now when the junction is formed. So electrons will move to the n region and holes will move to the p region. I want a color chalk. Yes. Electrons will move to the n region and holes will move to the p region. Similarly, the same thing happens here. Electrons move to this n region. So electrons move to this n region and holes will move to the p region. This makes the p region positive and n region negative. As you pass more and more light to the junction, more and more electron hole pairs will move here and here, right, from the junction. So this is minus, this is plus. So this side gets more and more positively charged now, this side gets more and more negatively charged. So what happens is this arrangement itself acts like a cell. What is a cell? Cell is a arrangement where we have two ends with the higher and lower potential. One is at positive potential, another is at negative potential. Positive potential means higher electric field, right? And negative potential, or I can say any positive potential means it is higher. Any negative potential means it is lower potential, right? So you know that a negative charge will always move from in an electric field. So suppose if I can explain it using a capacitor like this. Suppose this is positively charged and this is negatively charged. Electric field will be like this, right? So this is at higher potential, this is plus, and this is at lower potential, minus. And electron always moves opposite to the electric field like this. So this is also like a battery. So whenever there is a potential difference, it acts like a battery. So inside the battery also the same arrangement is done. One side is having higher potential, another side is having lower potential, electric potential I am talking, and that makes the charges to move. That can make the charges to move. So here, once these electron hole pairs move away after generation, so we have three processes here: generation, separation, and then acting as a cell, development of EMF. So generation by the incidence of light on the junction, electron hole pairs are generated. Electrons will move to the n region and holes will move to the p region because they have been oppositely charged. Okay, and after the movement, this gets positive and this gets negative. That develops a battery. So this itself acts like a battery. So electrons are collected by these grid rods, that is contact rods, front rods here, front contact rods. Electrons will be collected by this, and holes will move to this metal contact, back contact, metal base, back contact. And electrons will move like this and holes will move like this. And you know that the direction of current is the direction of motion of positive charges. So holes will move towards p side and like this. Electrons will move like this. So this is the direction of current. I'll call it as load current. So a current starts flowing in the external load. So that cell, that arrangement, p-n junction, itself acts like a cell, and that's why it is called solar cell or photocell. Why photocell? Because that will act like a cell only if light falls on the junction, only if that separation of electron and hole pairs are done, right? Light should fall on the junction, electron hole pairs must be created because electrons will go to the conduction band and holes are created in the valence band, and they get separated because already created electric field in the junction that separates them. and they move across the junction. That makes one side positive, another side negative. That means it is a cell now. If you connect that cell across an external resistor, current starts flowing through the external resistor. So from P side to N side. Don't show any battery again, right? Without fail, right? You have to remember it. So you get an load current, and that flows in the junction. So the arrangement PN junction itself acts like a cell, and that's why it is called a photocell. So photocell is a device which generates EMF. And if you want to draw one characteristic curve for this one, sir, how is the characteristic curve for photocell? VI characteristic, and you should have V here and I here, right? I here, V here. Now, which quadrant will you use? Sir, I will use fourth quadrant. Why? Because you see, whenever you supply energy from an external battery to a diode, for example, forward bias. When you forward bias a diode, you are supplying energy from outside, right? For example, if you have an ordinary diode like this, how do you connect forward bias? Positive P region is connected to the positive of the battery, N region is connected to the negative of the battery. Where do you draw the graph? Here, correct? Now if you reverse it, of course, current is reversed, voltage is reversed. Current is reversed, voltage is reversed. Both are reversed. Reverse bias characteristic. Now this is a different story, because we don't supply energy from outside. This itself is an energy supplier. That itself is a battery. When the cell itself is a battery, what is the use of, or what is the meaning of writing it in the first or third quadrant? You should go to the fourth quadrant now. We should shift from first quadrant to the fourth quadrant, because we are not supplying energy from an external battery. This itself is supplying energy to the external circuit. We are drawing energy from this. We are drawing current from this. We are we are developing a cell itself. So the graph goes to the fourth quadrant here. Since photocell doesn't draw current from an external battery, that photocell itself is supplying current. It is a source of energy. It suddenly shifts to the fourth quadrant, and the graph is like this. Why the graph is like this, and what are these values, sir? Very simple. Now you see, suppose you keep the photocell like this, make the light to fall on the junction, and don't use the external battery itself. If you don't use this, what will happen? External, not external battery. If you don't use the external source or external load, don't use the external load, no current flows through the cell. If a battery is not used, if it is not connected to any bulb or any commodity, it will develop an EMF, and that is not used at all. It cannot make any current to flow through. So now this is called open circuit voltage. If you connect a voltmeter across this, you will get the voltage across this. Whatever the EMF is generated by the movement of electrons and holes, generation and suppression, an EMF is generated. That EMF will be available. This is called open circuit voltage. That's why this one is called, this is open circuit voltage. That is the full potential difference available across the cell. Now connect this. Connect this using a small resistance like this for this back contact and front contact. Let this resistance be 0, connected by a wire. Sir, how much current flows? When you connect a cells by a simple wire, heavy current flows to the wire because there is no resistance at all. Heavy current because you have shorted it by a wire. That is why this, and now what the current flows here, that is called short circuit current. This is the highest current, short circuit current. This is short circuit current. When the two ends, front end and back end of the solar cell is connected by a wire, what is the highest current flowing through the wire or through the cell? That is short circuit current. And when it is open and when you measure the EMF, that is open circuit voltage. This is open circuit voltage, this is short circuit current. And these are the currents, different currents that we get for different load, right? And different voltages and different currents for different load. When you connect a load, don't keep it open, connect a load, and according to the load resistance we get a current, different current and different voltages across this. So there are those values. So this is the characteristic curve. So here also you will get some simple questions like, what is a solar cell? Solar cell is a p-n junction. When light falls on the junction, electron hole pairs will get separated, and that creates a EMF across the junction. So it itself acts like a cell, and that itself is a solar cell. And how it is constructed? With a p-n junction, and p side is connected with a metal base, n side is having some front contact rods, metal rods, and when the light falls on the junction working, electron hole pairs are created. They move away from the junction. Electrons move to the n region, holes move to the p region. That creates a positive and negative charge across the junction. That itself makes a cell. So that itself is a cell, and if you connect it across a external load, current flows to the load, and that current is driven by the cell itself, and cell itself acts like a source of energy. So that is and applications. Solar cells are used in calculators. We have some solar cell calculators in satellites to generate electricity. Even in home appliances, solar cells. You have plenty of applications. You can look into the book and list them. And that is about the three some types of diodes. So in these types of diodes, usually you have simple questions, except Zener diode. You may be asked to write the characteristic of Zener diode. You may be asked to explain the working of Zener diode. Symbol of this Zener diode. Voltage regulator, very important. Zener diode voltage regulator. Then photodiode, symbol, application, working, whether it is forward bias or reverse bias. Then similarly, users. Then what? LED, symbol, how does it work? How it is doped, and LED applications. Then this one, solar cell. Circuit working, simple working, may not be more than 3 marks, 2 marks maximum. And applications. Okay, so with this that completes that. You don't have transistors now. Even before last year itself it is cancelled. So not this year. Last year itself transistor is cancelled. So you don't have any questions on that. So if you want, you can read it yourself. That completes this chapter. With the small amount of part is remaining, that is digital electronics. So in the next class we will study about digital electronics, which is a very important part, very easy part also. So with the digital electronics, that completes the whole chapter. Okay, thanks for watching my class, and if you have any doubt, send it through WhatsApp. We will discuss it, because you may have some doubts in this, because we don't discuss each and every part here. We have only some amount of discussion here. Not every part of the every corner of the things are not discussed. So with this I conclude. Thanks for watching my class. Take care of your health. If you have any questions, send it to me through WhatsApp. Thank you.